Hi guys, today video I want to share with you our experience here in Natural Breeds Cavern. It was discovered by 4 college students in 1960. So I'm gonna share with you the video since we're gonna walk 180 feet below the ground. So that would be 18-story in building. So let's go and see what's in there. We are super excited at the same time, natatakot din. Just imagine you're gonna walk 18 stories in building below the ground.
Around 5,000 years ago, it used to be the upmost room of the cavern until it started to collapse, that roof. That's what all the rubble that you see from behind me is. That's also what the natural bridge used to be, part of that ceiling before the ceiling collapsed and left it behind, which is where we get our name. Actually, farmers and ranchers in the early 1900s knew about the natural bridge, the sinkhole, as well as the first room of these caverns. However, it wasn't properly explored until 4 students from St. Mary's University came down in early 1960s. They took 4 trips with permission from the landowner, and on their very 4th trip, March 27th, 1960, they found a 120-foot crawlway into about 2 miles of undiscovered caverns. They saw all the beautiful formations you guys are going to see today, and they decided to start developing the cavern into something the public could see. That development started in 1963, and about a year after that, 1964, on July 3rd, we sent out our very first tour. After about a month, the late Governor John B. Connolly came down on August 5th, dedicating this lower plaque down here to the discoverers as well as the developers, and then later dedicated the above plaque to Miss Clara Weiss Heidemann, who was the landowner at the time and made spearhead of all of the development here in Natural Cavern. Alrighty guys, enough history. I'm going to get into some of the rules. These rules are very important today. Just that way we're keeping us safe, we're keeping the cavern safe as well. Rule number 1, biggest rule that we have today, no touching any of the formations. As humans, we have acids and oils on our hands, and our formations grow by water dripping and flowing on them. So if you get any of those acids, oils on those formations, it actually causes the water to slip right up, making it never ever grow ever again. It also can be up to a 3rd-degree felony if you're found messing with any of these rocks here in the cavern. So just don't go to jail with a rock, or don't go to jail for touching a rock. Just be smart. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't touch. Just look, take pictures. Feel free to do all of that. Make sure you don't touch any of those walls, ceilings, floors, anything like that. All right. Along those lines, there also is no outside food or beverage inside of the cavern, with the exception of bottled water. If you have an icy, popcorn, something like that, make sure to throw it away in those trash cans behind you, or put it away in a sealed bag. There's also no smoking in the caverns, no smoking or vaping. Make sure to do it afterwards, just not during. There is going to be trash cans throughout the caverns. If you have any trash, just make sure you throw that trash away in those trash cans and not on the floor, anywhere like that. That also includes gum. Make sure you put it in those trash cans. And there's also going to be bodies of water in our caverns. Make sure not to throw anything in them, including coins. Instead of making your wish there, perhaps save that coin instead for something cool at the gift shop. Alright, our caverns are fairly low lit, just watch your step as we're going down. That means that flash photography is allowed, so flash A-okay. However, if you see a bat, something like that, just make sure not to shine your flash right in its face. Just momentarily turn that off. Bats are adapted to low light conditions, and sometimes they do like to come in our caverns. So if you see one of those, you don't want it to fly at you, just don't shine your flash right in their eyes. Alrighty. The cavern tour overall is going to be 3/4 of a mile, half a mile in the caverns, 1/4 of a mile back to Discovery Village. It's a one-way tour, so we're going to be leaving a room. Make sure to take all your bags with you. As we go to the next room, we will not be returning to that same room. You're going to exit out over in the Discovery Village near the Twisted Trails Tower. The cavern tour itself is fairly strenuous. It's going to be 180 feet down, 180 feet all the way back up. So, it's about 36 flights of stairs-ish. That being said, if you have any medical conditions, bad back, bad knees, recent heart surgery, anything like that, just make sure to consider that before you head down into the caverns. It's easier to consider it up here than it is actually 180 feet under the earth. That being said, if you do have any medical emergencies, or you need to leave at any time during the cavern tour, make sure to tell me as soon as you possibly can, so that way I can get somebody to come and help you out of the caverns. All right. Our cavern tour, it's going to be fairly steep and wet today, that trail there, so we recommend rubber-soled shoes. However, if you don't have those, don't fret. Just make sure to take small steps. Hold on to these handrails. Stay with the tour. Don't go off trail because you might get lost, or you might break a rock. Won't want that to happen today. There's also going to be other groups going through the cavern, and I don't want anybody to get separated from their families. All right. We're going to be heading down to the bear pit in just a second. There's going to be a family photo opportunity, so make sure to stay by your family. We're going to be lining up by a white sign. We're going to be going one by one and taking photos, and then the tour will continue after that.
Yes, that's how those form.
Big smile. 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Good. You guys can go. Camera right here. Big smile. 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, look at that camera.
Oh, and you gotta pat it down. Stick it out. There you go.
Well, since you must.
Alright, awesome. This room is closed. If you go all the way up back to the Discovery Village Center, when you are back on the surface, you can see those bones in our dining hall in a glass case. Alrighty. Next thing of note is going to be this Discovery entrance. For folks that can't see right now, it's going to be right over here on your right and look towards the bottom of that wall. It's going to be glowing in just a second. There we go. That's that 120-foot crawlway into about 2 miles of undiscovered caverns that they took when they went down. Largest doors to keep all the water in. So, the trails are going to get a little bit more wet after this. They will also might feel some drops on your head. Those are just called cave kisses, I promise. It's just clean water dripping down on you. It's nothing gross or dirty, anything like that.
Question.
Yes.
Can you drink this water?
You can drink the water, however, I wouldn't recommend drinking it out of anywhere in the cavern. There is actually going to be a water fountain at the very end of the tour where you can drink that water there. Alright. We're going to be heading down there. Right now we're 45 feet. We're going to be going down to 90 feet, St. Mary's Hall. St. Mary's Hall, the rails disappear for a second, so just make sure it goes single file through that area. If you're over 5'6", just watch your head. The ceilings can get kind of low, and make sure not to touch any of the walls there.
Yeah, look at. Okay, you can do it.
Get your ring on.
Wow, look at.
And then they do a bat flight every night at a certain time. The bats take off, and then for
You can be there to watch it.
hunting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
pupunta.
Super nice. Hawak ka. Wow.
Down, down, down we go.
Now y'all are water dripping off the ceiling onto the floor. So our first kind of drip stones down here formed by water dripping down onto them. These are called stalagmites. One day they might reach that ceiling up there. They go from the floor to the ceiling. Up above we have stalactites formed by water dripping off the ceiling. Stalactites hang down like icicles growing from the ceiling to the floor and then hang tight to that ceiling. When a stalactite all the way up here, this flowstone is. We have certain types of flowstone that you can see along the wall. These flowstones over here are called cave ribbon. It's where water flowed very finely against the wall, building up over a long period of time into these cave ribbons. Next up we have cave curtains, which is when, see up here, those holes are filled with calcite really, and it dissolves a lot of that calcite out. When it reaches our cavern, it deposits that calcite on a thin surface wherever it drips or flows, and over time, that calcite will build up and up and up and up over a long period of time, eventually making our formations. Our formations grow at about a rate of 100, or every 100 years, about a cubic inch grows, so that's about one of those square ice cubes every century. A little bit before we leave, this used to be a bat roost. Bats used to live in the cavern around 5,000 years ago before they left when that sinkhole collapsed. This is what happens when mammals touch the same surface over and over for a very long period of time. The ceiling actually turns black when they touch it. So that's where they used to hang upside down, sleep, or feed their young. Alrighty guys, we're going to be heading down the switchbacks. This is the way to get to the next part of the cavern. We're going from 108 feet down to 180 feet. So it's a very steep and wet part of the cavern. If you guys will
Ito ang picturean mo, tita, oh. Maganda. Yan ang dapat mong videohan. Video mo para maganda.
Oh my god, oh my god. Watch your head, Daddy.
Ang yabang. Yabang mo, ah.
mostly just because of the tree-like formations. Here you can see some tops of trees, maybe some trunks of the trees down below it. They just named after these large formations here. There are several formations within here in Florida that I just want to talk about quickly. Broomsticks are long and skinny stalagmites that form by slow water dripping down on them over a long period of time. That water drips all the way down, making it form a hole instead of all the way out, because it doesn't drip violently, it drips very slowly. A broomstick that same time, but in the ocean. Texas was covered in a warm, shallow sea. This sea had lots of animals and plants that lived in that sea, and when they died, they fell down to the bottom. Eventually, they were covered up by layers of sand and silt, or clay, different types of sediments. Those layers eventually started stacking up on top of each other, and these bottom layers down here started compacting hard as a rock. That's what all this limestone that you see before you is here today. All these layers are just different layers of very, very old sand from that bottom of that sea. Originally, the rock filled this entire room. There was no roof, but about 20 million years ago, there was seismic activity in the area, meaning earthquakes, that caused cracks in the ceiling to form. They formed in the limestone layer that's above this layer that surrounds us right now. You can see one of these cracks up above. It's this long line of stalagmites that goes all the way across the ceiling. These cracks allowed water to bypass that first layer, start working away on this second layer of limestone, carving out the large cathedral hall-like rooms that we have down here.
No, not like us.
Ayan, ang maganda. Ayan ang magandang picturean mo, tita.
I don't know what's the name of it. Sounds like a chair. A chair that I think that's a stalagmite.
Ang ganda. Oh my gosh, just look at that. Yan o, super nice.
What's the name of that? What's the name of that? That's called the Watchtower. So the big ice cream is called the Watchtower. I don't know if that's what it is.
Alison, Daddy, let Daddy look here. Let Daddy look here so I take your picture. Daddy. Puro ba? Kita, dali. Kita. Meron. So nice, ang ganda.
Ang ganda.
Higi ako copy sa'yo mamaya, tita, ha? Ang ganda ng... Ayaw ko. Ang ganda ng form niya, ayun, no? Parang...
These are our white giants that our room is known very well for. Let me introduce you to them right now. First off, we have the Watchtower. The Watchtower is the tallest column in the Cavern.
Wow.
Next up is also one of our largest. It's the largest stalagmite in the cavern, called after the landlord. These little holes here and this stalagmite here look like apartments and a landlord waiting for rent. Thus the name. We also have one guy, the King's Row. Here's the feet of the king, his footstool, and his jellyfish candy up above. If you continue to look on up, you'll see what looks like combination bacon. Bacon over here has discolored stripes in that formation. Those discolored stripes come from a chemical called cubic acid, which comes down from the soil and
Wow,
takes
ayun
place
pa,
in animals and stains that formation different colors. We can actually tell a little bit about what the climate was like when that cubic acid formed based on how much
It's like a
there is in
dome.
that formation.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, we have cave chandeliers. These chandeliers down over here formed by silica.
The water is so clear.
Kasi it's already filtered. Look at the tarantella.
Napicturean mo, tita? Later. Oh, may ano pala yung control yung ilaw nila.
Meron siyang
Alis to?
meron siyang pinipindot.
Yeah, yun nga. Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Look at that. Tita, picturean mo. Tita, mirror. Oh. You gonna miss it.
Ay, saan ba yun?
Look at the mirror.
Ano yung video na? Di ko naman tinurn on.
Yeah. Wala yung pag-asa yung phone ko, tita. Wow. Whoa. Hi. Wow. Ang ganda.
Uy, parang ano tao yung katikot dyan.
Parang ano yung sa taas. Ayan pa, tita, oh, mas maganda. Super nice. Ayan, yeah. Yeah. Ayan, tita, oh. Kinuha mo yung tip niya, yung close up na. Ayos. Oh. God is so cool. Chandelier. Maganda pag huli ka eh.
Uy, that is the one I like.
Ayun. Okay lang paa mo? Nagpahuli sila.
These cracks are interlapped. They intersected, and there were lots of them in the ceiling here. When the water hit the cavern before the creation of the aquifer below us, the water for the ceiling was allowed to stay afloat.
Yeah, I almost missed that.
However, when the aquifer was created, the water went down to the aquifer, causing the ceiling to come down with it. So the ceiling starts to collapse bit by bit. You can kind of see that stair-step pattern on the roof all the way up until that stable layer up there. You can see some of the evidence from that collapse down over here. This is rock down here called breakdown rock. The rock used to be part of that ceiling before it tumbled down and is now finally resting down here. On top of the breakdown rock, you can see lots of formations that have grown over thousands of years. They tell us that the ceiling hasn't collapsed at least since the Ice Age, which is around 11.7 thousand years ago. So we're all good. It's not going to collapse on us today. If you want to know a fun fact, actually, that limestone layer all the way up there is the other limestone layer. Right now we're surrounded by the Glen Rose limestone formation. Up there is going to be the Edwards limestone formation. So two entirely separate layers from different points in the Cretaceous. This is going to be early Cretaceous, up there is going to be mid-Cretaceous. All right, we're actually going to be scaling the Hall of Mount here today. So, it's a pretty strenuous climb, just a little word of warning here. Feel free to go as slow as you need to, take breaks in the middle of it. If you need anything, I respond to help tour guide and many other names. Just yell for me if you need me. I will be going up first just to make sure that we're all good to go. Making sure that there's nothing halfway.
Ang ganda nung sa taas. Parang yung mga skull.
I promise it doesn't happen. For the most part, unless somebody sits on a or there was an earthquake on the side of tectonic plates colliding, that's what would actually cause it to collapse. So it takes a large amount of
In other words, you have to be very
all right, y'all ready? I believe in you guys. You got this.
Patakyan. Ready. Okay na. Yeah, I know. Alam niya daw that. That's to. Wow. Look at that. Madilim nga lang. Ang ganda.
It's like a dome.
Oh my God. Okay. Dad, hinawakan ni Ali, Dad. Hinawakan niya lahat. Sobrang nakakapagod actually kasi kung hindi ka masyado into hiking, pero sulit na sulit. Super nice. Yeah. So ayun na nga guys, so natapos natin yung tour natin na super satisfied at ang ganda talaga, hindi ka magsisisi. Kaya make sure take a good, nice picture inside kasi once in a lifetime experience ano. Kaya ang ganda talaga, sulit na sulit. Yun nga lang, may part na madilim kasi nga madilim talaga sa loob. And then hindi ako makapag-focus video dahil sa dami ng tao.
We're done.
So, ayun, na-survive namin kasi nga marami-raming lakaran. It's like an hour or more yung tour doon sa ilalim. Kaya, be ready guys. Kailangan matibay yung tuhod kasi may part doon na sobrang stiff yung dadaanan mo at madulas.